Each time I see this kind of enthusiasm and I see this level of support and commitment by focused young Nigerians, I don't like to even say a word. I wish I can just be left to go back so that we can start preparing our cabinet for next year. But as far as I'm concerned, this election is over before it is over. Yes. But we must breathe life into our aspirations and our plans, our mission, our vision for Nigeria. And like every one of us, I know all of you are tired of the system. You are tired of this country that has nothing for you. You are tired of a country that leaves you with crumbs. A country that has left you with no substance, no hope. You are only left with just one thing left. And that's the focus on one place, and that's the future. It is very clear that you are not lazy, right? Yes. You know who is lazy? A guy who won an election in 2015 and could not form a cabinet for 6 months. Yes. That's who is lazy. Yes. You know who is lazy? A guy who last year spent more than 100 days in the hospital without explaining to even the taxpayers what he was doing in the hospital, what happened to him. He just came back and hoping that we accept the nonsense. Of course we did. You know who is lazy? Yes. The guy whose son has never walked before but has a big bike. Yes. And he fell off the bike and we have to pay for him to be treated both in Nigeria and Germany. You know who is lazy? Yes. The guy who has only had 150 cows. Even during pregnancy, these cows don't even have twins. They don't have quadruplets. Nothing. That's who is lazy. You know who's lazy or who are lazy? They are the guys who have turned Nigeria into their ATMs. Yes. They don't work, but they get paid. Yes. You know what our senators are getting paid? The unconscionable 13-point-something million naira per month. I was just reading somewhere today a book written by Omoyele, and she admitted in that book that the Senate during their time under Obasanjo, they had to bribe them about 71 billion naira so that they can pass their budget during that time. You can imagine how much they collect now to pass budgets. It's 508 billion. That's what they added to the current budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria has become a crime scene, and they need a new policeman in town. Yes. Yes. And in the US, they call it, the type of policeman that needs to clean Nigeria, they call them sheriff. Yes. So there's a new sheriff in town. And it's not me alone, it's all of us. We are holding a meeting here today to make a commitment and a covenant with our nation, Nigeria, that we are taking our country back, that we are tired of the rubbish, the nonsense, and the shenanigans that have been going on for 58 years, and that those who have kept Nigeria in the condition in which it is today, those who have denied you and me the right education we should have, those who have denied us the roads that we should be riding on, those who have denied us electricity that we should have at night, that is taken for granted all over the world, those who have denied us medicine in our hospitals, those who have denied us the kind of agriculture that will be feeding us and feeding the rest of Africa, those who have denied us the opportunity to be respected, to have human dignity, that they will pay for it. It's not a threat, it's a promise. But the way they are going to pay for it is not blood. We are not killing anybody. We are going to show to them that we can govern the country a different way. And we'll be nice to them. Those of them who are going into retirement, they'll be getting their pension on time. The moment we announced that we are taking power, and we started bringing out programs that we will use to reform this country, they started to wake up. I told them that we will give workers 100,000 as minimum wage. First they said it's not possible, that it will cause inflation. I said let them bring the inflation. If Ebola cannot work in Nigeria, inflation cannot kill worker salaries. But guess what? A week after that, they start negotiating with workers that they want to increase their salary to 66,000. I said it's too late. Please, workers, just hold off. We will pay you 100,000 from May 29, 2019. So we announced that we are going to be paying youth corpers 50,000. Immediately again, they ran to youth corpers and started increasing their allowances. I don't know for how much. 25 now. This is within the last 3 months that we announced that we are going to be doing. This is an update I made on my. Immediately I made that update. Some people also said that, how are you going to pay for it? Now they have increased it to 25,000, but it's still 25,000 naira shy. So, corpers, just wait till next year. It's coming your way. We announced that we've seen the condition of our highways. They are terrible. They couldn't finish Lagos-Ibadan highway for 20 years just to repair the old road. Though. I went to Ibadan at a town hall meeting. I said, we can do this in a month. Some people said it's not possible. How is it possible? I said, in Scotland, they constructed a runway overnight. It took us 5 months to do it in Nigeria. In China, they built skyscrapers overnight. Do you know what they did? Immediately, the next Federal Executive Council, they released money for Lagos-Ibadan Highway to be completed. Because I said it. I said it's too late. Because by the time we get to power, we are no longer going to be dealing with Lagos-Ibadan Highway. We are dealing with a fast train from Lagos to Calabar, another highway, dual carriageway that will connect Lagos to Calabar, from Calabar to Maiduguri, from Maiduguri back to Lagos. Triangle. Yes. They said to me, but where are you going to find the money to fund all these things? And I asked them, where did Ms. Desiani, Kola Aloko, and this found the 3 billion naira they stole? Is it not from Nigeria? So we take that 3 billion, we put it aside. Where did the oil marketers who are doing subsidy thing get the $26 billion they stole? Is it not from Nigeria? Did it cause inflation? No. I started mentioning all the people that, what's it called, Dasuki. Where did he get the 2 billion? That is it not from the central bank? The paperwork is with me as Sahara reporters. So now we already found 30 billion that is stole. And what do we need? Yes. What do we need to actually do all the magic we want to do? They are still less than $5 billion. It will add only $1.5 billion to the federal wage bill to pay workers 100,000 minimum wage. Is there anybody here who doesn't spend some 18,000 naira on recharge card alone? Most of us. That is the salary of a federal worker. It's crime against humanity. And you want your federal service to work. But for the young people in the house, students, the investment on you is coming. And first, we are not introducing any form of school fees throughout our tenure. And it's up to you to choose how long you want us to be. The reason is that we need to catch up with the rest of the world by making education affordable and make it in quality. And when I'm speaking in front of you, I am not speaking from some esoteric experience. I'm speaking as someone who has been a student leader before. And that is the reason why every university must be allowed to have student union that are strong. It's because I don't want the EFCC to be fighting vice chancellors when they are corrupt. The student union leaders of each university should be able to do that. That's why we make student unionism compulsory. When I was at the University of Lagos, it was my duty to fight my vice chancellor whenever I find him to be stealing. We will recover the money. It was my duty to fight the bad guys. It was also our duty to fight the governor of the state of Lagos, to fight the military leaders of Nigeria. In 1998, I went to the National University Games at the University of Lagos. I was as tiny and as a pin. You probably have seen the video on Facebook, to confront the federal military government, might. And that was the time they expelled a bunch of student leaders, and we had to force them to take them back. When I got there, Mike Ahigbe used to be the vice president at that time, or the deputy head of state, as whatever position he was. He told me to come, that I should take a card and come and see him in Abuja. I said, sir, I cannot come to Abuja because I have no time to come and see you in Abuja. We have to resolve the issue here. Because of that, there was commotion, but those students today have all graduated. These are the kind of sacrifices that we've made. But the people who made no sacrifice are the ones that are in position of authority today in Nigeria. The people who were hiding under their beds when we were fighting the military, they are the people who are senators and governors today. I went to see the traditional ruler of Bakassi today in his house. And he said to me, you know, the governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, is a digitally minded governor. And if he should come out as president, am I willing to step down for him? Listen, I answered him, I said, well, when we become president, if we check his background and it's all right, we can manage him as a minister in our government. Because, and I'm not denigrating anybody, a lot of us who are sitting down here can be better governors, senators, and House of Rep members, and president of this country. So don't let us allow anybody to insult us by saying that because somebody became governor is better than us. And that's why I'm urging you, please, it's not too late. Anywhere you can occupy officially and democratically, bring out yourself and contest, and I will come and campaign for you. In taking this country back, it's not going to be the presidency alone. I decided for the presidency because the presidency is the most important position that can quickly change Nigeria around. Because a lot of people keep saying that, why don't you start as a local government chairman or a senator? And I said to them, I see Nigeria as a closet. It's either you're occupying the main closet or you decide to be in the drawer. If you go to the Senate, you have put yourself in the drawer. If that's all you want, it's good, but you know what they do in the Senate. If you are too vibrant and too honest, they will suspend you from the Senate. Yes, sir. If you are too vibrant in the House of Representatives, they will suspend you from the place, and nothing will happen. Maybe after some 6 months, one judge will say you can come back and collect your back pay. But your people would have been denied your representation. But the president of Nigeria can get a lot of things done quickly, instantaneously, and with not much effort. But that president, with due respect, must have capacity up here. Yes, sir. The president must have intellect. The president must have physical agility. You don't want a president that cannot even go to his office. He claimed that rats take over the office. Is that the kind of president you want? Even if you had it before, we are not going to have it anymore. We don't want a government in which monkeys are swallowing money or snakes are starting to become the Auditor General of the Federation. No, we don't want that kind of leadership anymore. We want a leadership that is working for all of us, such that those of you who are sitting down here who don't have employment will keep you very, very busy. And I have to warn you in advance, if you have graduated and you want a job under our government, will overwork you. You will be doing 2 jobs in some cases. So some of your jobs will be in Katsina, some of it will be in Ondo. You will be moving up and down because we need to turn this country into a construction site where we are building bridges, we are building roads. We are going to act as if we are ground zero, that we don't have anything at all. Thank you very much, man. So how am I going to engage this country? We are engaging it with an acronym because we love acronym. We are young people, called Spicer HIT. And I'm going to define it to you very quickly in a context that you may be able to understand. Yes, we are going to start with security. This country is bleeding. And the law enforcement agencies in this country are no longer performing their roles as they should. And I know some of you are in the House law enforcement. It's not an indictment on you, but your leadership are not doing very well. So we will overhaul our security agencies. We will equip our policemen, our secret and open policemen, our soldiers, our Air Force officers would finally be able to have jets that can shoot at Boko Haram. I work as Sahara reporters. All the time the Nigerian Air Force send us videos. They will send you video of where they visit Boko Haram. They'll show the video like Nollywood. And they'll come back and bring the video. They won't shoot anything. I said, how do you take a jet to see people who are killing the country? And there's nothing, even if it is to throw one grenade from inside the jet, inside the place, since you don't have ability to fire gunships. You would have done it now. Because we don't have the equipment to work with. And those who are willing to work with us outside the country who have the equipment, they don't trust our leaders because of corruption. That's what they did when Boko Haram started. And when this government was coming to power, they said they will eradicate Boko Haram in 3 months. But lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, we are the biggest contributor to Boko Haram now. Last year, we gave Boko Haram 5 million euros in exchange for Chibok girls. They were so emboldened that they went to another school in Dapchi to take more girls, 110 of them. When they were done with the negotiation on the ground, they drove leisurely back to Dapchi, even addressed a rally in Dapchi. And I'm saying to ourselves, why don't we just create an embassy for Boko Haram in Abuja so that we can be... They have already formed a country within our country. Secondly, we are going to deal with the issue of power. Your election is coming. They are going to be giving you generators. Anybody who is giving you a generator is telling you not to expect power ever. Yes. That's what it means. If they have plans for the future, they will be giving you generators. But here is what we can do. Right away, we can add 4,500 to our national grid of megawatts of electricity through solar alone. And we have to dismantle the central behemoth of making you inject power into the central grid. We will have mini grids so that in your own area, you can buy solar panels. If you have excess, you inject it, your neighbors can buy from you. It becomes an economic hub for selling power between us. The same way we sell recharge card, we can be selling power. And that will encourage people to generate their own power in very clean, renewable manner. Nobody is thinking about this. Nobody's campaigning on this basis because we are being led by analog brains when we are in a digital society. Next is infrastructure. I mentioned it before. We need over 400 kilometers of highways, dual carriageway to be built. If we put all the unemployed youths in this country together and just do a social experiment, that we want them to use interlocking block to create 400 kilometers of roads. In 1 year, it will be done. It will be done. But we are not even using anybody because our country is a country with contractors without builders. In in Cross River yesterday, we went to the river that's called, Cross River. That river, I launched yesterday, is 97 kilometers long. A contract was awarded to a senator and his company, and they have not put a single dredging in the place. The money probably has gone into private pockets. Calabar here is supposed to have the export processing zone, EPZ. I studied it when I was in the University of Lagos in 1990. It's there in our books. Calabar is supposed to have a deep sea port. I also studied it at the University of Lagos in geography and planning. I have not seen it since I came here. Meanwhile, the Lagos port is overwhelmed. If you go to Lagos from Festac all the way to Apapa, there are trailers. From Ojuelegba to Apapa, there are trailers. Instead of us to develop the one in Calabar so that we decongest Lagos, leaders who are wicked will never allow it to happen. Yesterday here also, because I don't want to take you too far, we went to see Nigerians who are refugees in their own land, the Bakassi people. These guys are sleeping inside classroom. One woman had a baby and died right there. We saw the baby, about a month old. You got to just hate the leaders of this country. Every year they use Bakassi name to raise billions of naira. Those people with 100 million, they'll be living in luxury. Nobody gave them a dime. They are just using they don't even have borehole. Even the coffin to bury the woman who died, they don't have it. They couldn't afford it. It was yesterday that we promised that we'll do it. I don't have money, but I've said that whatever we can do, we will make sure that that woman is given a befitting burial. And we'll do it. But it tells you the kind of wicked leaders we have. Nigeria's problem is called wicked problem. It's a computer term for a problem that defies all solutions. But we must find a solution to it as from next year. There's nothing about Nigeria that is difficult. When they want to lie to you, they will claim that Nigeria is a big country. Nigeria is not big. It's big for people who have never traveled out of Nigeria before. It's just like you're in a village and you say your father's farm is the biggest. Go and see other people's father's farms. You know that yours is too small. Nigeria is not big. Nigeria is just twice the size of a state called California in the US. US has got 50 states. And you can travel from one end of the US to the other on a highway called I-95. It could take you a week. The highway will have no potholes or bumps on it. Well done. But Nigeria, there's nowhere where you can find 150 kilometers straight to travel. Even the people in the north who had thought that Buhari would leave them out of poverty, the worst road I've ever traveled on since I started this campaign 3 months ago is between Kaduna and Kano. The worst. They are doing evil to their own people. And people have woken up to understand that these people are lying to them. Because you know how they used to keep us down. The moment they do all their evil, they will bring ethnicity to you. Ah, you are my brother. Your brother is doing wickedness to you. He didn't remember. Buhari is not sending anybody to school in the north, but his children are doing very well in London schools. I told them when I went to the north that this man that you are calling Megaskia, which is the meaning of somebody who is truthful, I said is a munafiki banza. This man is dishonest. That is why he kept us in this condition. And I said it in Kaduna, in Arewa House, when I went there to campaign. Everybody agreed with me. It was a hall that was filled up with people like this. Because the man hasn't done anything for them. So I go back to our Spicer story, anti-corruption, after infrastructure. You know how they are fighting corruption in the federal government, right? If you belong to APC, you are deodorized. If you are not in the APC, you are criminalized. That's how they are fighting corruption. Right now, people are even indicating that if you are from Buhari's side of the world, you are not tried. The former custom boss, I think his name is Diko, he stole billions. They found up to almost 500 cars with him that he kept some of them in places that I can't even remember. When the EFCC interrogated him, they say, you have over this one. He said he can't remember them. His memory started to fail him because he had too many cars. They asked him to refund 1 billion. Nobody has tried him till today. Obanikoro, who we exposed on Sahara Reporters as having been the person who took 5 billion naira to Ekiti to go and rig Ekiti election for Fayose, is back in APC after he spent a few days at the EFCC. No trial, no refund. Even the houses that were seized from him had been returned back to him. We cannot fight corruption like that. We have to fight corruption the way corruption is fought everywhere. And we have to fight corruption holistically. And I say to you, the best way to fight corruption is not to allow corrupt people to lay their hands on your resources. The moment they take it, it takes more money to even recover the money from them sometimes. So we have to run a digital society, especially in which we nip corruption in the bud before it is taken. Look at our civil service. We have maybe 1 million civil servants in this country at the federal level. Do you know that 21% of them are ghost workers? 80,000 of them in the Nigerian police. When you take that 80,000 ghost workers from the police, the rest of the policemen are guarding VIPs. Some governors have 200 policemen attached to them. I wonder who is after them? Right? Why do you need 200 policemen to run after a governor? I mean, who is a governor? Even the US president don't have more than 6 vehicles in his convoy. I don't know if you've seen a picture of a woman who was riding a bike and gave Donald Trump a middle finger. Because he doesn't have that many security. In Nigeria, if the president is going, they will close the road before he left his house. They close the road after he has left his house and arrived at his destination. They will close the airspace. When he's arriving, they will close the airspace after he has arrived. That's the kind of country we have. But until we start allowing our policemen to guard the real people of Nigeria, the taxpayers, we are in trouble. Next is economy. How should the Nigerian economy be? And this is a question for those of you who are economic students. But the truth is that I won't even wait for an answer from you, because the economics they are teaching you in your universities and high school is rubbish. It's true. They are telling you when you ask them, rest. And this is part of what we have to fix, even in our system. We have to fix our curriculum to fit our own Nigerian experience. When you ask them in this country, what is the economic situation of Nigeria, they will point to the foreign reserve. They'll tell you how much is their foreign reserve. I live in the US for 19 years. And I'm not here to brag to you about it. There's no big deal about it. It's second slavery. So don't think about it. You can never find the US government telling you that their economy is based on a foreign reserve anywhere. Their own reserve is called the Federal Reserve. It's inside their country. Because the foreign reserve that we're keeping outside there is meant for the Bank of England to be taking care of business. They're actually taking your money and reinvesting somewhere else. So you go and borrow money when you have money. It doesn't make economic sense. And this is the reason why I've always been opposed to Ngozi Iweala. For those of you who love her, tell her I said she's a failed economist. For 2 years, 2 terms, she came and ran this country to the ground economically. And she had the temerity to be writing a book, now revealing that they were bribing people. Why didn't she say it when they were doing the bribery if she had conscience? Next is restructuring. A lot of you, particularly in this part of the world, are concerned about how Nigeria is. That is a federal system that's unjust, is burdensome, and doesn't give room for development of various regions and countries in it. Nations in it. We are not opposed to restructuring. We will restructure Nigeria. State police, I want it. I want even local government police. I want people to control their resources. We are in the Niger Delta region. We have oil. But let's be careful. Oil is disappearing as a commodity. All of us can fall sick, but no nation should put a president in office and turn the presidential office into a hospital where the only time we hear from the president is when he's in hospital. No nation should do that. And I urge President Buhari, they said he's a man of integrity. I don't believe it. But if it is true that he's a man of integrity, it is time for him to let Nigeria be. Let my people go, Mr. President Buhari. If you are not doing that, it means that you are one of the selfish, greedy people that has been destroying this country. And if you don't let this country go, the country will let you go by 2019. It will happen. That our cabinet next year, and listen to me very well, is going to be 50-50. 50 women and 50% of men. 50% of men, 50% of women. And after that, I know guys will not be happy because we are used to the way we are doing things. But after that, even if it is women that are competent enough to run, the government will let them be. The reason is that they are doing it in Rwanda. 70% of the parliament in Rwanda, parliamentarians, lawmakers, are women. And Rwanda is probably the fastest growing economy in Africa as we speak today. So if men want to compete, you better step up. The second question is about, are you real when you say that we shouldn't pay school fees? Of course I am real. The federal government 2 weeks ago, after I announced in Owerri that there will be tuition freeze, actually came out that there was never a time they introduced school fees. Did you guys hear that? Yes. So there's actually no school fees in our books right now. These fees you are paying in most of the universities are going to the private pockets of vice chancellors. The federal government is capable of funding our universities. We did our investigation recently. The biggest university in terms of student population is the University of Calabar here. There are 45,000 students, and I'm speaking from verifiable statistics. And if we invest 50,000 on each of you per year, I'm not saying we'll give it to you, but in the system to take care of you, your university will be brimming with all the tools that you need. And that's why I said I need vibrant student union leadership on every campus. I'm not talking about the kind of student leaders now that are going to give award to people in their houses. Not that. I'm talking about leadership that can stand, because that is where you learn to become real leaders, is when you start as a student. We are having conversation with a lot of political platforms. We have become a darling to political parties. There are 68 political parties in Nigeria. A lot of them are talking to us. We're talking to them. What we found out in the process of talking to political parties is that if we weren't approaching this from a movement standpoint, we would have run into trouble very quickly. A lot of the political parties that are in existence today were created by the PDP and APC for special duties. So when you look at their constitution, look at their composition and their formats, you will not believe it. Even the most progressive political parties you see out there, they have booby traps in them. Some of them, even that were created by Chief Ganifa Eme, will ask you to go and pay 7 million naira. Where will I get 7? I'm not going to borrow money like Buhari claimed he borrowed money. That, you know, he said he couldn't buy his farm. He borrowed money. Turns out it was Silva that gave him the money, the Bayelsa guy. We are not doing that. We want this election to not cost us money. We want it to cost us ideas, and ideas we will spend until we defeat the big behemoth of APC, that is the all past criminals, and PDP, Papa deceiving Pekin. The footballers that died and you said they didn't pay them their money, just wait for us next year. The people that ate the money will vomit it. That's all I can tell you. It's not only footballers that died, but the money that they have been stealing from the Bakassi refugees. We will also make sure that an average of 1 billion naira is raised on behalf of Bakassi refugees every year.